Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen, to all of my returning subscribers. But if this is your first time joining me on today, be sure to hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. So today I am doing a celebrity birth chart reading on the rapper and performer, Mr. Mystikal, okay? Those of you all who are just, my older subscribers and my subscribers who are well versed in 90s era hip hop know who Mystikal is, okay? He was a No Limit soldier. Here I come, oh, here I go, hey, here I go, hey, here I go, dun, dun, dun. Where'd that come from? What song is that? Here I go, here I go. I'm so lame. Okay, but anyway, yeah. So I was actually scrolling across the internet and I came across an article. It was an old article about Mystikal. And so the story goes, okay, he was a rapper in the 90s and the early thousands. He was signed to No Limit with Master P and the whole gang. And he had like a relatively fruitful career up until 2003, in which he pled guilty to sexual battery. Okay, as he forced his hairstylist to perform oral sex on him, as well as his bodyguards, okay, recorded the video and was sent to prison for 6 years. In addition to that, he also ran into some tax troubles. And once he was released in 2010, he, kind of revived his career a little bit, but not for real. I think he was just kind of touring. And then in, I want to say 2012, around that area, when is it? Yeah, I think it was in 2012, he was arrested again following a dispute with his domestic partner and was later given a misdemeanor charge of domestic abuse battery, okay? He was detained for 9 days and then released on bail. On April 16th, he was given a 3-month jail sentence for violating the terms of his probation. He was given following his release from prison back in 2010. He was given credit for the 9 days already served, reducing his confinement to 81 days. He began serving his sentence on May 14th at the East Baton Rouge Parish Jail. During his incarceration, he appeared in court to be heard on the domestic battery charges, as well for a hearing to determine child support payments for his 2 youngest children. And then he was released in August of 2012. Then, on August of 2017, Mystikal turned himself into the Cato Parish Sheriff's Department after a warrant was issued for his arrest. He was subsequently charged with rape. Like, what's the tea? And at this point, I think he's out on bond. So I don't even think he's had like an official court hearing for that. And I'm not even really sure what that most recent rape situation was about. However, what prompted me to do this reading was the fact that despite him being such a talented rapper, because I mean, he really had the game online back in the day, okay? His flow was something very unique, something that not many people had heard before. His cadence, the way he would just rhyme and rap so fast and switch up his words, and he was so clever at the same time. People were not used to seeing that from a down south rap artist, but to see such a great talent kind of devolve into just a straight up monster, he's a monster, okay? And we're gonna get into that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into his chart. So Mystikal was born September 22nd, 1970 in Nowlands, Louisiana. And this makes him a Virgo sun, Cancer moon. Now, he has a lot of Virgo energy in his chart because his sun, Mercury, Mars, and Pluto are all in Virgo, in addition to him being a Virgo South node. So we're going to get to that in a minute. However, first things first, his sun is at the 29th degree a Virgo. That 29, also known as the anoretic degree, also known as the crisis degree, has a very nasty reputation in astrology because it's such a high pressured type of number. Okay, it brings about high pressured situations that can make you or break you. It deals with third party interference of some sort. It can even deal with family issues. So that in and of itself, I mean, could be a problem. Not to mention with him being born on the 22nd, the number 22 deals with situations or people who can be controlled or people who are doing the controlling. And given the layout of Mystikal's chart, I see him being the more controlling one. I definitely think he has control issues, but we're going to get to that. So he's Cancer moon. And funny thing with Cancer moons is that Cancer just as a sign can be one of the most racist, but also sexist and misogynistic kind of signs because Cancer is so biased, right? And it has such a hard time adapting to other people's point of view. It's very much like self-contained, like it's whatever I relate to or however it's feeling emotionally is what it's going to resonate with, and it could cause situations to where it completely is like it's not considerate of other people's situations, other people's plights. So that can lead to a situation to where somebody who has very prominent Cancer energy in their chart, Cancer moons, depending on how it's aspected, could actually be like flaming racists, bigots, like I said, misogynists. And in that same vein, Mystikal's moon is squaring his Chiron in Aries. And so Mystikal is not only a misogynist. I feel like he's has a rather barbaric mindset when it comes to women, because Moon and Cancer also deals with the woman, the feminine. He's also rather abusive. Okay, Chiron deals with wounds, physical wounds, emotional wounds. That Chiron in Aries can produce a person who is incredibly impulsive, hot-headed, pig-headed, somebody who is exceptionally violent, combative, somebody who is very temperamental, and like I said, in this case, particularly towards women with this getup. So him receiving that domestic battery charge does not surprise me at all. He does give me I'll beat a bitch ass kind of tease. I'm not really sure who's checking for Mystikal like that, but if you are, girl, I hope you got them hands. Okay, you're going to need them. He is very combative, and he gives me just barbaric teeth. And also, even though the moon is dignified in Cancer, because it naturally governs the sign Cancer, it still can produce there like a sense of hyper sensitivity, a sense of like moodiness to the point where, I mean, it could be little things that set him off. You know what I mean? He could be having a bad day. He could have woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Almost like it gives him like this hair trigger type of temperament, which is not cool. Okay? I would not want to be around anybody like that. Also, Mystikal's moon is squaring his Uranus in Libra. This aspect can produce, or it reinforces there being like a lack of emotional control on his part, but it can also produce very erratic business partnerships, making very erratic and abrupt decisions that could lead you into court, either from a business perspective, because Libra does deal with business partnerships, but I mean just even with other people, just in general. So I see this as him being taken to court by all of these women. Okay. And particularly with him having that video exposed, because they said he actually recorded him and his bodyguards sexually assaulting the hairstylist. Okay. So Uranus deals with video. It deals with the internet. So I could absolutely see, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he was on some, like, I'm going to say R. Kelly shit. Not that I'm implying that he has sex with children, but he's still a sexual deviant nonetheless. And I wouldn't be surprised if he made a habit out of recording certain things, like his sexual interactions or just humiliating things that he's put other people through. Oh yeah, especially with his Uranus opposing his Chiron. Yeah, I would. That could definitely be him recording shit, keeping shit on film, and it being used against him. And speaking of humiliation, Virgo is the sign of humiliation. So, particularly with his sun conjoined to his Pluto, okay? This could create situations to where it reinforces him being a very forceful, domineering force and a rather unpleasant person to work for. And this is reinforced also with his Black Moon Lilith making an almost like exact conjunction with his South Node in Virgo. So this makes him somebody who is, because Virgo also deals with employees. It deals with assistants, even like hairstylists, accountants. I wouldn't be surprised if he made it a habit out of like torturing the people who work for him. You know, he could be a straight up tyrant. Also, Black Moon Lilith in Virgo can produce feelings of hate, jealousy, revenge, and a mischief as it pertains to employees and the workplace. It can also produce somebody who desires to control the people around them, like their employees. And oftentimes they use sexuality to do so. And with all of this Virgo energy, especially with his Mercury in Virgo, it could produce a mind that is never satisfied. Think of Virgo like a person, an inspector, walking through a warehouse with a checklist, and it's like, yeah, okay, done, what the fuck is this, bitch? You ain't do it right. You know what I'm saying? You ain't do that right. That's not how I wanted it. I see him being somebody who is very, very controlling, very precise and concise about things. And, you know, they said that the woman had stolen $80,000 worth of checks from him, which may be true. Okay, it may be true. And with that Virgo energy, I'm pretty sure he's very methodical and tedious and pays very close attention to detail and the way things are done. And even taking it back to Virgo being the sign of the accountant, you know, he's very aware of his money, what he has, what he doesn't have, what leaves, what comes in. So that might be true. But with his Black Moon Lilith conjoined to that Virgo South Node, it makes him just a straight up, horrendous to work for. And the retaliation in the workplace can be unmatched. Obviously, okay, he's making bitches give him blowjobs. So, you know, and with the Black Moon Lilith containing an element of sexuality to it, this could produce a person who is like the quintessential, like, sexual harasser at work kind of thing. But obviously, in his case, it manifested as him physically and sexually assaulting people who work for him, or his assistant, or his hairdresser, or whoever the fuck she was, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, he hires women and, you know, it tries to fuck them or make them do sexual favors, or even uses sex as a punishment, as he did with the young lady. So, I mean, oh my God. Oh my goodness. And to make matters worse, his Neptune, which is in Scorpio, is squaring his Black Moon Lilith. And that reinforces him being a sexual deviant as well. Him being somebody who puts a lot of time in the energy. I wouldn't be surprised if he was into some very, very kinky shit. Okay? Some very nasty, kinky, deep, dark shit. And that's just being honest. It can also deal with him being prosecuted for his sexual crimes and going to jail. Because that Neptune deals with confinement. It deals with prisons and institutions. But Neptune in Scorpio particularly can deal with him going to prison by way of a lot of those sex crimes, right? Squaring his Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. And I mean, Virgo is the natural ruler of the sixth house. It deals with your everyday functions, you know. So somebody who kind of spends their everyday, or even their inability to integrate into society, because Virgo does deal with integration, assimilation. So somebody who's not really fully able to integrate into society due to being in prison, you know. So there's that. Also, his Venus is conjoined to his Jupiter in Scorpio, which adds to the element of there being a sense of criminality, okay, or there being an underhanded way in which he deals with women. But it also could indicate his IRS situation, because it could create somebody who owes the government or owes somebody, another entity, because Scorpio is other people's money. Okay, you owe somebody some money, and that can happen rather quickly, and it could be a lot, especially with Jupiter here. Let's see what else. Also, going back to his sun being conjoined to Pluto, it could also make him involved in criminality, crime, being somebody who is very, like I said, just mischievous, very mischievous. And his sun is squaring his moon. So, I mean, honestly, I think he's a little touched. That sun square moon is a very, very, very challenging aspect. It can produce bipolarism. It can produce a very irritable personality. It can lead to very combative behaviors, especially issues with the opposite sex, like continuous issues with the opposite sex. So, yeah. And then finally, his moon is squaring his Pluto, which is another, whenever I see moon square Pluto in a man's chart, I think it's time to run, okay? Just because it deals, and especially in his case, with his moon at the 2nd degree of Cancer, it's Pluto in the 27th degree of Virgo, it could deal with a man who is very, it reinforces that element of control, okay? And who it has very jarring emotional responses to things, and very jarring emotional responses to women. And with that Pluto there, it can introduce an element of obsession. Okay, these people can have very obsessive, compulsive emotions, which is just a recipe for fucking disaster, especially as it pertains to women. Yeah, they can obsess over things, and it can go to the extreme. Also, Virgo being a mutable signs are prone to extreme violence, okay? And he has a surplus of Virgo energy in his chart, especially with his Mars at the 12th degree of Virgo. That 12 deals with victimization and sacrifice. So once you get him going, there's literally no stopping. Okay, and his Mercury is conjoined to his Mars, so it even makes him verbally abusive, which reinforces my suspicions that he's just not a pleasant person to, like, if you're working for him, or even just, I would even argue, like I said, I stand by my assertion that he's a misogynist. So, you know, if you're a woman around him, especially, God forbid, if you work for him, or if you're in some type of subservient position around him, he's going to treat you like it, okay? And it won't be pretty. So, yeah, this man has some fucking issues, for sure. And it could be related to his childhood. It could be from the past, because Virgo and Cancer are the two signs that can't really, like, if something is fucked up about your childhood, if something happens to you during childhood, it'll be hard for you to move on. And especially with the moon squaring to Pluto, there could be issues with the mom there. Maybe he was raised by a grandmother, or there just could have been some type of extenuating circumstance around his mom. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yep, so that concludes my birth chart reading for rapper Mystikal. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of this reading, as well as any concerns, thoughts, opinions. and future suggestions for other celebrity readings, okay? And as always, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I holla.